Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's so wonderful to see each and every one of you here. A very warm welcome to this evening's Namaharsha program, and we all are so excited. We have the NJP Harinam team here with us, and it's the Srila Prabhupada Grand Night. So let's give them a round of applause and a warm welcome. So the team was here at about 5 o'clock, and they've been around the streets of the Mercy having very ecstatic kirtan, and in a little while we're going to have some very eloquent speakers that are going to be addressing us. So first we're going to start with Guru Puja, and it is a very auspicious year. It's a year that we are celebrating 50 years of the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came here 50 years ago. He came to South Africa, and the reason we all are here today, the reason we have Krishna consciousness is because of him. So this evening we're dedicating it to our dear Srila Prabhupada. So we're going to start the program with Guru Puja, and each and every one of you will be given the opportunity to offer flower petals to Srila Prabhupada. So as the kirtan starts, we will indicate you, and you'll please come through, and with all the love and devotion in your hearts, you'll offer the flowers to Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll continue with our program. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Please may I humbly request for everyone to stand.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Shri Guru Charana Devana Bhakti Sarva Shri Guru Charana Devana Bhakti Sarva Shri Guru Charana Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna
Hare
Shri Prabhupada ki Shri Prabhupada Guru Puja ki
Jai Om Vishnu Padam Param Sapara Vajakshari Astotra Sakshimat Divine Loving Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Swami Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki ISKCON Samasta Pakachara Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnu Padaya Param Sapara Vajakshari Astotra Sakshimat Divine Loving Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय अनंत गौरी वैष्णव की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय श्री सत्य स्वामी की जय श्री पंचतत्व की जय श्री निचाय गौर सुंदर की जय लॉर्ड जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय without spiritual master, divine loving grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Savior of the whole world. Srila Prabhupada, transcendental book distribution. Srila Prabhupada, transcendental food distribution. Srimad Bhagavad Purana. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Dev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhaktalal Maharaj ki jai. Tulasi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Ganga Mai, Yamuna Mai ki jai. Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru Shri Guru. 50 years awareness celebration. Srila Prabhupada in South Africa ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnava ki please give me a blessing ki Nitai Go Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So if you have just joined us, a very, very warm welcome to the Namaste Namahacha program this evening. It is our grand Srila Prabhupada night, and as we've already mentioned, it's 50 years that Srila Prabhupada has come to South Africa, and we are celebrating that in every way possible in 2025. Charanaru Vrinda Prabhu just brought it to my attention that the 4th of October is actually the date, the 50-year date that we are celebrating. So October 4th was the date that Srila Prabhupada came to South Africa, and we have the lovely NJP Harinam team that is here with us to celebrate this evening. So we have 3 lovely speakers that are going to enlighten us this evening. And our first speaker is His Grace Dwarkadesh Prabhu. Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Lokanath Swami, and Prabhu's been in ISKCON for about 32 years. He serves at the New Jagannath Puri Temple in Phoenix in the deity department, and Prabhu has recently started such a beautiful opportunity for devotees to engage in the celebration of Srila Prabhupada's 50th anniversary. He has the Leelamrita book reading. So if anybody is interested in reading from the Leelamrita books, they can contact Prabhu for that. And Prabhu also has a program where he encourages devotees to do house programs. So he's always engaging in such wonderful service in Krishna consciousness. So let's give him a huge round of applause.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jnana Timirandasya Jirajana Shakaya Shamsuritam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Putale Shrimadi Bhakti Swami Tinamini. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Putale Shrimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavad Prastutati Sadharini. Vanchakapatarivasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Paditaram Pavandu Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So we are very happy to be here today with you all celebrating Srila Prabhupada's 50th year visit to South Africa, and so each of us is going to speak on Prabhupada, Prabhupada's pastime, and so I'd like to start off with Prabhupada was born in 1896 in Calcutta, and Srila Prabhupada's father's name was Gaur Mahadev, and his mother's name was Ranjini. So when Srila Prabhupada was born, and the horoscope for Srila Prabhupada was done, one of the things that the astrologer mentioned was that when Srila Prabhupada is 70, he will cross the oceans and open 108 temples. And we all know that even up to today, temples are being opened under Srila Prabhupada's name all over the world. So Prabhupada's father was a Vaishnava, and when Prabhupada was a child, his name was Abhacharan, one who is fearless. It means one who is fearless. And Srila Prabhupada's father, being a Vaishnava, his desire was that Srila Prabhupada become a servant of Srimati Radharani. And Srila Prabhupada's father used to always invite many sadhus to his home, almost every day. He used to have sadhus coming to his house, giving them prasadam, donations. And he would always ask the sadhus to please bless his son to become a servant of Srimati Radharani. Srila Prabhupada's mother, Ranjani, she was very, very protected over Srila Prabhupada. And just like Mother Yashoda, who used to have this fear of Krishna getting into some trouble when leaving with the cows in the pastures, and Mother Yashoda used to do some pujas and all for Krishna to be safe. Similarly, Ranjani used to do similar things. So one of the things she used to do, she should take some saliva and touch on Prabhupada. And then once she expressed some blood from my breast and offered it to the demigods for Prabhupada's safety. And then once she took another step, these are very extreme things. I don't think any of our mothers in this age do things like this. And the other thing she did was, she started eating with her left hand. And this was for Prabhupada's, so Prabhupada can have a long life. And the only time she stopped eating with the left hand, she said the only time she will stop eating when Prabhupada noticed her and asked her why she's eating with the left hand. And so it happened, Prabhupada did approach her and he asked her, Master, why are you eating with the left hand? And immediately she stopped. And it is said that if Prabhupada didn't actually ask Abhacharan, if he didn't ask his mother, she would have continued eating with the left hand. So Prabhupada, as a child, he had many names. One of the names was Kachori Mukhi, Nandulal, Abhacharan. And Srila Prabhupada was born on Nandotsava, the day that we celebrate the appearance day of Lord Krishna. So Prabhupada, his childhood was very, very blissful. He had a wonderful father and mother. And his parents made sure, especially Gaur Mahan, he made sure that Prabhupada, whatever Prabhupada wanted, he would get. They went to the market, and Prabhupada once went to the market with his father, and he saw a gun. And Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mahan, bought the gun for Abhay, and then he wanted another one for each hand. So Prabhupada was like this as a child. He would always get everything that he wanted. And Gaur Mahan, he was carefully ensuring that Srila Prabhupada grew up to be a Vaishnava. This was his goal for Prabhupada. Prabhupada was a pet child. There were other siblings, but Prabhupada received, I think, all the attention. The Gaur Mahan was a merchant, a clock merchant. And one night when he came home, and he asked for Prabhupada, and Rajini said that Prabhupada was very demanding. He was demanding for kachori, so I sent him to bed. So Gaur Mahan, he said to Ranjani, you should have done that, Whatever Abhay wants, you should make sure that he gets it. So he went actually, got Prabhupada up, brought him to the kitchen, made kachoris for Prabhupada, and he also made puris as an extra, for Prabhupada being upset. So like this, Prabhupada was growing up very, very spiritual, in a very spiritual atmosphere. And Srila Prabhupada's, in the neighborhood where Prabhupada was staying, there was a temple there. And they used to have Rath Yatra festivals on a yearly basis. So Prabhupada, he wanted his own Rath Yatra festival. And he approached Gauravan and he said, he wants his own Rath Yatra festival. So Gauravan, as usual, wanted to satisfy Prabhupada's every desire. He took Prabhupada to the marketplace. And for those of you, I'm sure everybody knows the chariot festival, the Rath Yatra festival that we have. So Prabhupada went to the marketplace and he looked for a chariot. And he couldn't find one. And so Prabhupada, Abai was very upset. He started to cry. And there was no chariot available. And then there was a Bengali lady that appeared on the scene, and then she asked, "Go on, why is the child crying?" And Gorman explained that we're looking for a Rath Yatra cart for him, and we can't find one anyway, there's nothing available here. And surprisingly, she had a cart. So Prabhupada's Gorman took the cart from her, and for 8 days, Srila Prabhupada celebrated Rath Yatra with his friends. 8 days. We have Rath Yatra 4 days. This is like the first Rath Yatra now with Prabhupada. 8 days Prabhupada celebrated Rath Yatra, and every single day his friends were getting prasadam, and Mother Ranjani was cooking prasad every single day for them, making sure they have, and Prabhupada loved kachoris. So every day they were getting the full share of the nice prasadam. And later on when Prabhupada went to America, and the devotees were asking him, like where you learned to cook. And Prabhupada said, I used to watch my mother cooking. And that's how he learned to cook. So Prabhupada also wanted his own set of deities. So Gauravan got him a set of Radha Krishna deities which Prabhupada was worshipping. So you can see that Prabhupada, even from his childhood, he was already on another level. I mean, we all have children. And Prabhupada's siblings to tease Prabhupada, you only worry about Krishna, you only worry about, things like that. But Gauravan, he had this goal for Prabhupada. He wanted. So at a very early age, Prabhupada also learned to play mridanga. And today's reading was, I think it's today's reading and yesterday's reading was, Prabhupada is in America, and he was invited to do a recording. And when the devotees saw Prabhupada playing the mridanga, they were amazed. How did Prabhupada play the mridanga so well, because he's trained from a child. So Gauravan was ensuring and always praying and asking everybody to bless Srila Prabhupada, and so that he can become a servant of Srimati Radharani. So Srila Prabhupada's childhood was very, very. Prabhupada said that during the mango season, he would run in and out of the house eating mangoes. And his father, although they were middle class, ensured that there was nothing short of in their house. Prabhupada also experienced, as a child, Prabhupada had once had some disease. And when the doctor visited Prabhupada, Abhay, he wanted Prabhupada to eat some chicken soup. So Gauravan explained to the doctor, the physician, that we don't take animal products and stuff like that. So the physician decided that he will cook that soup and bring it. So Prabhupada's father agreed somehow, and then they brought that soup and tried to feed Prabhupada, but Prabhupada refused to eat it. And then the doctor got fed up and he said, this child doesn't want to take this, so we'd rather just leave it. And then Gauraman decided just to chant and leave Prabhupada at the lotus feet of Krishna for his healing. So like this, Prabhupada was saying that so many times he's been in situations, in dangerous situations, but Krishna always saved him. Once Prabhupada's cloth caught on fire, and in that situation as well, Prabhupada was not injured or anything like that. So we have two sets of Leela Amritas. Where is the Shamaduti? So if you pay, how are we giving it out? Are we taking questions? We are asking the audience some questions to give it out? Or what's the procedure?
So Prabhu, Shamaduti Prabhu has informed me that Purna Prabhu has very lovingly sponsored these Srila Prabhupada.
Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yes, it's such a valuable and precious set of books. I recently bought myself the set, and I must tell you, it makes for such an interesting read. It's so valuable indeed. So I'm not sure, Prabhu, you can decide whether you want to ask a question later on. Or...
Maybe we can decide.
Okay.
Okay,
so we'll ask two questions at the end of the, because there's two sets.
Make it three questions. One from each speaker.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they're listening carefully. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada, he was married when he was 21 to Radharani, and so Prabhupada went to a very prestigious school, the Scottish Churches College, and he was studying there for a BA degree. And when Prabhupada finished his 4 years of studies, and when he received his the day of the graduation, Prabhupada didn't go and take his certification or get the honor of getting his BA degree, because at that time Srila Prabhupada was following Gandhi's movement. And because this voice can be irritating. And because Prabhupada was following, because the British was ruling India at that time, so Prabhupada, India was subjugated by the British rule, and Prabhupada obviously didn't like that, because his lecturers always put the Indian culture, I need that back. Would always put the Indian culture down and blaspheme the culture of the Indians. So, in 1922, Srila Prabhupada was with one of his friends. And after Srila Prabhupada finished his studies, he wanted, during his childhood, he always dreamt of going to either Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri. So when he finished his studies, Srila Prabhupada went to Jagannath Puri for a short holiday. So in 1922, Srila Prabhupada was persuaded by his friend Narendra to see a sadhu. And this sadhu was none other than His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who was the coming down in the Guru Parampara. And Prabhupada was very reluctant to go and see sadhus because, as I mentioned earlier, Prabhupada, Gauramohan, Prabhupada's father, used to invite a lot of sadhus to his house. And Prabhupada also noticed that some of the sadhus, they were not following very strictly. You know, they were dressing as sadhus to do collection of, which was like a livelihood. So Prabhupada wasn't really interested, but because his friend was, encouraging him to see this particular sadhu, so Prabhupada went. So Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj was sitting. It was, he had to go upstairs to where he was giving darshan and speaking to devotees. And so Prabhupada and his friend Narendra went up to the room. And before Prabhupada could offer obeisances to Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, Maharaj looked at Prabhupada and his friend and said, "Your boys are educated boys. Why don't you take this message of Lord Chaitanya all over the world?" So Prabhupada, offered his obeisances, and he was thinking, we never offer our obeisances, and we already got an instruction. And such an instruction where we need to go around the world and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya predicted that the holy names of the Lord will go to every town and every village. So Prabhupada then, whilst listening to Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj, he then asked, he said that who is going to listen to our message of Lord Chaitanya? Who's going to listen to us? Because we are subjugated by the British. India first need to become free from British, and then maybe we can do that. And Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj's reply was that this Krishna consciousness cannot wait for anything. It is so important and it's so urgently needed that waiting for India's independence is not important at all. And Srila Prabhupada was I'm saying Srila Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was Abhay Charan at that time. He was very, very impressed with what Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj had to say. And then on the way out of the building, as they were leaving, so his friend asked him, what do you think about this Swami? And Prabhupada said that the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in a very nice, saintly person. So Prabhupada, on that day, Prabhupada accepted Bhaktivinoda Goswami Maharaj as his spiritual master. And this instruction that was given to Prabhupada, that Prabhupada should take this message of Lord Chaitanya around the world, Prabhupada took very, very seriously. And throughout Srila Prabhupada's life, this was Prabhupada's goal. Prabhupada's goal was to go to America, and not only in America, but start off in America, and then from America, travel the globe. And as we know, Prabhupada traveled the globe many times, 14 times, 12 times, 14 times, opening many temples all over the world. So, coming up to the stage where Prabhupada had actually became successful in his mission. And one thing reading about Prabhupada's determination is out of this world. Prabhupada's determination and Prabhupada's faith and Prabhupada's patience is absolutely on another level. So Prabhupada when he left India, he was 69. And we all know that he got a lift on a cargo ship, hitchhiked to America. But on the ship, Prabhupada had 2 or 3 heart attacks, and Prabhupada was saying that the pain of the heart attack was so severe, he thought he would die in the ship. And but Krishna had his plans for Srila Prabhupada. Krishna knew what Srila Prabhupada's plans was, and therefore Prabhupada actually celebrated Janmashtami on the ship. So that was the first Janmashtami. So we remember now, first Rath Yatra, Prabhupada was a child, and the first Janmashtami out of India on the ship. What ocean is that? Huh? Indian Ocean. Prabhupada gave a small talk. So like this, Srila Prabhupada has become very successful. He has opened many temples all over the world. And when Prabhupada went to America, after 1 year, Prabhupada initiated disciples after 1 year. And I think 1 year is like a very, very short time. To go to a foreign country and start Krishna consciousness, and within 1 year to initiate, I think that's like super excellent. So I just want to, I'm not gonna, we all got like, what, we said 15 minutes, so I'm gonna just go through some things that I've written here. And I've said, also sent this out on the groups. So just by a show of hands, somebody is listening to Srila Prabhupada Harinamanada daily? Or sometimes at least when you have time? So is everybody on the Lamasi Namata WhatsApp group? How many of you are on the WhatsApp group? Please raise your hands. Hare Krishna. Hey, not everybody, some people are missing. So please join the Lamasi Namata WhatsApp groups. There's always beautiful messages, birthday wishes, and lots of things happening there. And one of the things is the Harinamanada book reading. So when you, those of you are coming newly, it's the most important thing, firstly, to get to know Prabhupada. Okay? We know a little bit about Krishna, but when you read Harinamanada, you get to know Prabhupada, you get to know etiquette, you get to know Shastra. Prabhupada is now speaking to devotees from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'm just going to go quickly to this and then we'll get our next speaker. Yeah. Okay, so some of the things, I'm not going to discuss these things, I'm just going to go over it in the next 2 minutes. So one of the things by listening to Srila Prabhupada, you're getting association of a pure devotee. One will understand ISKCON more clearly. Number 3, one's foundation in Krishna consciousness will be very strong. Your foundation in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada is everybody's Shiksha Guru, because we are reading from Prabhupada's books, translations. Okay. 4 is one would know who spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya all over the world. The reason why I'm saying that, some people are trying to take that glory from Prabhupada. Only Srila Prabhupada can be Jagat Guru. This is also another issue. Some people are trying to take that position out of Prabhupada as well. And we, by reading Srila Prabhupada's Harinamanada, we'll know who Prabhupada is, we'll understand this, and then when we see this, we will reject it immediately. Only Srila Prabhupada gave Krishna consciousness to the world. That's another thing. There are other organizations or other gurus that are also trying to take this from Prabhupada. When Prabhupada walked in Thompson Square Park, no other guru at that time ever chanted the holy names in America. Nobody. Okay? All the other gurus were more interested in some yoga practice, which is just bodily exercise. Nothing about Krishna. Okay? Your commitment to the mission of Prabhupada will increase. Your commitment to the mission of Prabhupada will increase, and there will be no reason for us to go anywhere outside the ISKCON. Prabhupada gave us everything. There is no need to go anywhere. Yes, we can go to give the glories of Prabhupada and ISKCON, but not for association. Our main association should be taken from ISKCON. Okay? Your sadhana will increase. My sadhana increased. So I know. Your love for and respect and appreciation for devotees will become stronger. So we must appreciate devotees. And by the associates, by sadhu sangha, that's the only way we can make spiritual advancement. Your love for Prabhupada will become stronger. So please, I would like to take the humble request to humbly request you all to please listen to Prabhupada Harinamanada. We're reading Prabhupada Harinamanada every day. We're trying to finish at least by end of this year. And I want to thank these two devotees, Keegan Prabhu and our MC for reading, wonderful reading. And there's so many people that want to read, so we got the roster is going over 2 months, so that's why you didn't get a chance to read, but you're coming up shortly. So thank you so much for reading, and I'm sure everybody is inspired in the Namata that you are reading. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Go pray with that.
Thank you, Shantaka Prabhu. Thank you very much, Rajadesh Prabhu. Our next speaker is His Grace Madhumangal Prabhu. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay, Madhamangal Prabhu has requested that he go last. So our next speaker is Her Grace Gaurav Premi Devidasi. Let's give her a round of applause. Gaurav Premi Devidasi is a disciple of His Holiness Indradunya Swami. She is a medical doctor and a specialist general surgeon. She volunteers her medical services to the community of devotees. She is a preacher at the Westville Namahata and a mentor at the Sri Radha Raghunath Temple. She does kirtan, she's a kirtaniya, she's a pujari, she's a writer, she's an artist, she's a baker, and she has her masters, and she's been a student of the Bhakti Vaibhav studies. Sorry, my apologies. So, Mataji's message is, I love connecting people to the scriptures and the holy places of pilgrimage, and though I'm living with significant health challenges and neurodivergence, I'm learning every day by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. To many of us that are here and in Krishna consciousness, we know Mataji, she always renders such beautiful classes and also renders such beautiful kirtan. So let's give her another round of applause. And she's also one of the readers of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, that readings that go on as well. So we welcome you, Mataji, and thank you for being here with us.
Shri Chaitanya Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasvaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shrinivadi Paschanti Deshadayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaidya Gadadhar Shivasai Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to glorify Srila Prabhupada. It's an extreme honor, especially in this momentous year, because everyone here, everyone has felt Srila Prabhupada's mercy touch us profoundly. And it's because he came to these shores. Everywhere that Srila Prabhupada has been in this country is actually a place of pilgrimage. And we're very fortunate that there are many places that he actually went to. He visited Reservoir Hills, he stayed in Westville, he went to the university campus there, he went to Lakshmi Narayan Hall. He also visited Johannesburg. He stayed in the Hillbrow Temple, and he lectured at the Wits Great Hall. There's also a program in Lodya at the Civic Center. So there are many places that have been graced by Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. And it's significant because the pure devotee carries Krishna with him. So these places have actually had the Supreme Lord present there. It's quite a profound thought. So Srila Prabhupada is speaking about how Srila Prabhupada, he actually met his spiritual master when he was very young, but it took him some time before he eventually fulfilled his spiritual master's instruction to him to carry the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the West. So we may wonder why, because to us we know Srila Prabhupada as this pure devotee who was always carrying Krishna with him. So much so that his name, it's not just beautiful, it's not a coincidence that Abhayasharan means one who is fearless, having taken shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Because what makes this world different from the spiritual world is that the spiritual world is known as Vaikuntha. Does anyone know what Vaikuntha means? happiness. It's the place where there's no anxiety. So diametrically opposite to that is this world, where fear infects every being at every step. And Srila Prabhupada himself gave us the eyes to see that, because even the birds are not free of fear. Even the birds are eating and looking up, looking around for danger, like that. All animals and all human beings, all of us are beset with so many different fears. It's quite funny when I think about how I used to pray when I was younger. It was literally just pouring out all the fears to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, however, came into this world with not one fear at all. So literally he was a Vaikuntha man, literally from the spiritual world, and literally carrying Krishna with him and doing it fearlessly. So in that time though, that between when his spiritual master met him and when he left for the West, he had so many obligations to fulfill. And we may wonder why that was actually necessary for a pure devotee, because again, he was a Vaikuntha man, he didn't have any karma. Although he spoke to the devotees at some point and said that someone had told him that in his previous life he was a physician and so on, but we know that he also told devotees that Krishna had personally requested him to come to the material world. So there wasn't any karma, we could say, because there wasn't any previous births for Srila Prabhupada. But he went through all those challenges between when his spiritual master gave him the instruction and between when he left for the United States to do what Arjuna was doing, to show us that even though devotional service is sublime, it is a challenge to sometimes execute. For all of us ordinary souls, it's a great challenge. And although he was like us, he had responsibilities to his family, and quite large extended family as well. He had responsibilities to his spiritual movement, to the devotees who he was now meeting, to his spiritual master and so on. He still endeavored to try and fulfill his spiritual master's instructions as much as was possible, even with the challenging circumstances. So when he was a householder, he was contributing towards the mission. He was helping the devotees physically wherever he could to open centers, and he was basically doing the kind of things that we do. Because we know Srila Prabhupada, the phenomenon, the one who opened 108 temples and wrote over 60 volumes of literature and initiated over 7,000 disciples and inspired countless intellectuals and academics in meetings and always had the wittiest response to any question that was asked. But behind that was Prabhupada, the person, the devotee, the one who had obligations, who had challenges, who had a family that wasn't supportive, like many of us may also. He had god brothers that weren't honoring his spiritual master's instructions. He had financial challenges. He had businesses here. He had all his efforts in Krishna consciousness before he left for the US essentially failed. So if we think about that, if we had looked at Srila Prabhupada before he got onto the cargo ship, we would have seen that Srila Prabhupada was not successful in his Krishna consciousness, or not successful in what his spiritual master wanted him to do. He couldn't persuade his god brothers to take him seriously. He didn't have many supporters, although there were a lot of people who were sympathetic to him, but not many were actually willing to risk anything on his mission. Even his one disciple, one initiated disciple before he left. So he illustrated a point that, that we will all have to experience, that essentially in the material world we're all alone. We're all alone. We try to build up our defenses because we're so acutely aware of this principle of fear that pervades everything that we do. We try to build up defenses, people we know, and connections, and finances, and insurances, and. But at the end of the day, we've all been through something or the other that has taught us that these things are impermanent and it cannot help us when we really need it to. And Srila Prabhupada's entire journey before he left to the West is as important as those 12 years afterwards, because it taught us that even when he lost everything, he did not lose his faith. His understanding that he was always under the lotus feet of Krishna's shelter. So we're not all going to be able to open 108 temples and initiate any disciples, not to speak of 5,000. And we're not all going to write volumes of books. But we can all remember in those most challenging moments that we have, that we always have Krishna, that we are always under the shelter of his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is, of course, more aware of it because he was a pure devotee and he never forgot Krishna, as he said, for a moment. And we can just remember him in those moments, even if we can't remember Krishna, even if we don't have faith in Krishna. Because it's difficult for us to actually just have that faith. It's very difficult. Essentially, it's the foundation of our spiritual life. And sometimes we may wonder why it's so difficult for us to make progress in spiritual life. And it's because of this principle of faith, how difficult it is to actually cultivate. Srila Prabhupada knew how important it was to inspire us, because we may have been hearing about Krishna, many of us from the time we were little, and how much more challenging for those persons who hadn't ever heard of Krishna. So how Srila Prabhupada built his faith in those people when he preached to them in the West was by instilling faith in them of himself. So even if you don't know Krishna, even if you still have a disconnect because of being in these material bodies and so many lifetimes of conditioning, you can have faith in Srila Prabhupada. And in this 50th year, if there's anything that we can do to serve him, it is to become as genuine as he was in all our efforts. We don't have the power to maybe do the same things he did. We shouldn't try to imitate him, of course. But we can try to be as genuine as possible in our journey to faith. So in everything that we do, if we can understand where we are and pray to Krishna to get to where we need to be with the utmost sincerity, it requires us being very honest with ourselves. That's also where we might have a challenge. But if we're honest about our weaknesses, if we're humble about our strengths, if we're quite determined to do what Srila Prabhupada wanted of us, he'll help us. Because the pure devotee essentially has the same quality of the Supreme Lord. He's also a Kalagya. He can also see past, present, and future. He can also be present where we are meeting. So, even despite all of these wonderful abilities that Srila Prabhupada had, he still went through all those struggles. He still persevered in Vrindavan, where even though there's so many temples of the Lord and there's so many devotees, he couldn't find any solid assistance for his mission. And in Delhi, which was incredibly crowded metropolis of people who were basically there for business and for other interests, not at all related to spirituality. He also got very little support. He actually couldn't sell his magazines and his books even when he gave them away for free. That was what he went through before he left for America. And he would have to distribute them mostly alone with the assistance of a youngster or two from the place that he lived in Shafriwada. It's a very humble accommodation. We were there a few months ago. But it was very important to appreciate that so much was going on in such a humble space. That so much dedication, so much faith, so much perseverance was there, even when he couldn't sell one book. And we tend to give up very, very easily when it comes to that. Even trying to preach to one person. And he was preaching to people who had backgrounds in Vedic culture culture, who knew Krishna, who understood about the importance of Lord Chaitanya's mission, but still couldn't sometimes sell one book or one magazine. So his conviction though was in his spiritual master, as we have his perfect example to also base our conviction on. And so he took such a monumental risk of traveling to the West and taking the message of Lord Chaitanya with him. So then when we think, well, he knew that that these things would happen, that the message would have to be transplanted in the West, and he had told the conductor, the bus conductor, when he sat on the bench with him one day, that there are temples, there are followers, it's just time that's separating us. But Srila Prabhupada didn't actually know whether he was the one who was going to do this, to accomplish it. Someone once challenged me on that, he didn't know it was going to happen. But how many times did he actually go back to the harbor to check or to the offices to check the schedule of when the return boats were going back to India, because he felt that his mission actually wasn't successful, more than once. So he just went with that complete conviction and no guarantee of success actually. He was willing to take that chance. There's so many chances that Krishna asks us to take on a daily basis that are not as monumental as giving up everything that we know, traveling to a foreign country without any support at all and no currency. So it's a reminder. It's a reminder about the chances that he took without any guarantee of success, and what he was prepared to live in when he first moved to the Bowery. Because essentially, he was living in a slum. Most of us have never had to live in a slum. He lived in a slum. And as he pointed out many years later to remind the devotees, that his prashadam or his bhoga was kept in the fridge next to cat food in some of his initial accommodations. So this is what he endured before all these successes again. He lived with people who were not clean in habits, both on the inside or the outside. But he was again prepared to do it for Krishna, without any guarantee of success. His whole mission could have just ended if he just went onto one of the boats and turned back to the US. But he persevered, and like Prabhupada said, within a year he had initiated some disciples, and that was the beginning. But we could say that although it was the beginning of his successes, it was also the beginning of a monumental amount of service, because he guided every single aspect of the society until he left. He was preaching until he left this world. So he also brought to our attention that with great success comes great responsibility. That we actually have to be prepared to put in twice the amount of work and services we expect from everyone else. He led by example, and that's why he could inspire so many devotees to take the message seriously. So we can learn so much from his pastimes. He may have been in a material body, it seems to us, but everything that he did was completely transcendental. Sometimes it seems almost too good to be true or unbelievable, but that's what happens when one comes into contact with Spirit, with Krishna. So he's given all of us that opportunity. We can saturate our consciousness with his pastimes and his teachings, and pray that he'll give us that ability, that faith, that strength to do what Krishna wants of us, and to make this 50th year in particular the best celebration of his grace and mercy to us. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
So a very big thank you to Gaurav Premadasi. Such a powerful message. Thank you very much, Mataji. I know that each and every one of us are very inspired. Our next speaker, it is my privilege and honor in introducing His Grace Madhumangal Prabhu. Let's give him a round of applause. Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Paramahansa Das Goswami Maharaj. Prabhu's also spent 37 years in Krishna consciousness and has served tirelessly in preaching and being involved in kirtan. He is such a stalwart devotee, such a powerful preacher. Prabhu's always engaging in kirtan, and many of us know him for his very ecstatic and jubilant harinams that he goes on. So we all are very excited. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for being here with us. A gentle and humble reminder that we do have the Srila Prabhupada Leela gifts that are here. Thank you once again to Purna Prabhu for that. So listen intently to our speakers, and this precious gift could be yours. Let's give Prabhu another round of applause.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I won't take too much of your time. 15 minutes were given to us. So I'll try to keep to the 15 minutes and not more than that. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishna Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Nam Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Prachine Nirishya Sunyavadi Paschatadya Satari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Please. Hare Krishna. You're still awake? Interesting topics that is going on of Srila Prabhupada, you can't be sleeping. Put your hands in the air, everyone. Loudly, Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Hare Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Krishna Krishna! Hare Hare! Hare Hare! Hare Rama! Hare Rama! Rama Rama! Hare Hare! Srila Prabhupada ki. Indeed. Just think for a moment. If Prabhupada didn't come, imagine it. How more degraded we would be. There are so many wars that are taking place at the moment. By now, there was no Krishna consciousness. The third world war would have begun. Do you agree? It is the Krishna consciousness movement, the chanting of the holy name in the streets and distribution of Prabhupada's books that is actually holding back the third world war. Srila Prabhupada ki. We can't stop thanking Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada came here for us to South Africa. And do you know there is something that Prabhupada spoke when he was on his deathbed? Remember in South Africa, in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you know that? Huh? I will read that to you just now. But nevertheless, what Prabhupada brought something for us. I'm just going to start with a question. Where's Mahaprasad? Mahaprasad and Madhuri, husband and wife, wonderful, loving couple, drinks everything loving. Tell me, you don't wrote any love letters to each other? How many love letters did you write? Madhuri, how many you wrote? Huh? You didn't write, don't tell me lies. Huh? Mahaprasad, how many love letters you wrote? I wrote love letters to my wife. Huh? Gaura Pravi just got married not so long ago. How many love letters you wrote?
Email.
Huh?
What's up?
Huh? WhatsApp. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada came. Do you know all these literatures that Srila Prabhupada has translated? They are all love letters. Love of Krishna. And Prabhupada wanted us to fall in love with Krishna. We might read this right few pages. Even sometimes tears falling on the letters. I did that too. Tears falling on the letter, and then you can't make out the writing sometimes. But when you read Srila Prabhupada's book, tears don't fall, which it's supposed to. That is an unfortunate thing because I'm speaking for myself. I'm not advanced. So how long love letters did Srila Prabhupada write? 18,000 verses. Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam. 700 verses. Bhagavad Gita as it is. And more than 80 volumes of books, all love letters. How to get to Krishna, to fall in love with Krishna. That is what it is all about. Love for Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada brought for us, which we are searching in the wrong place. We're looking for it all over here, even between the opposite sex, trying to find happiness and love. Are we finding it? This material world is full of happiness, misery. Nobody can tell me that. But Prabhupada brought the happiness. And when he went to America, he went on a cargo ship. Prabhupada mentioned, not Prabhupada. Excuse me. Prabhupada mentioned that. He went on a cargo ship. And that cargo ship was carrying the cargo to America. But who was in that ship? Srila Prabhupada, called Janaduta. And the cargo that the ship was carrying was not the cargo bound to America, but it was the cargo of love that Srila Prabhupada was carrying and going to America. And he distributed that love of Krishna starting under a tree.
The cargo was Bhagavatam. The cargo was Bhagavatam.
Yes. Yes. So that is why we have got to know Srila Prabhupada properly. He is no ordinary personality. And he brought that same love to South Africa. And Srila Prabhupada, he so very kindly even mentioned some personality at Johannesburg airport was questioning Srila Prabhupada, and he asked Srila Prabhupada, what do you think of all the places that you went to all over the world, to the countries? Srila Prabhupada said that it is a misdirected society. In Johannesburg it was. It is a misdirected society. Wherever I went, all the living entities are misdirected. And here too, I am here, therefore you ask me that question. I see that all of you are misdirected. And what question do you think you asked that personality? What question? Famous question Prabhupada will ask. Who are you? Couldn't answer that question. The Prabhupada, see, that is why you are misdirected. If you don't know who you are, where are you going? What is going to happen to you? That is why I came to give direction. Srila Prabhupada ki. So that is Srila Prabhupada. And if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada, I'm speaking for myself again, I would not be where I am today. So therefore we have to have the highest gratitude for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. There is no greater person that walk this earth. We can speak so much about Srila Prabhupada. And one important thing that Srila Prabhupada wanted, and that brought us to Krishna consciousness more. What was that? What was that?
Prasad.
Huh?
Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad.
Mahaprasad, yes. More than that. How did Srila Prabhupada start? Never start with prasad. Chanting of the holy name under the tree with one pair of katas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. From there, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness spread all over the world in every town and village today. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. So what great personality he must be. And I'm going to end right here. I carry on speaking as I promised. I'm going to give you the time. When Srila Prabhupada, after finishing here in South Africa, when he went back to India, when he was on his deathbed, and he was lying on his deathbed, 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada stopped. He never completed the 10th canto. What was Prabhupada thinking about at that time? I'm just going to read very carefully, please listen. The value of Krishna consciousness, however, will gradually be very much appreciated. For instance, in an article about the temple of the Hare Krishna movement in Durban, South Africa, the Durban Post reported, all the devotees here are very active in the service of Lord Krishna, and the results are obvious to see. Happiness, good health, peace of mind, and the development of all good qualities. This is the nature of Vrindavan. So that's what Prabhupada brought to us. In South Africa, Prabhupada is lying on his deathbed and he's speaking about us. Remembering us. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. Can you imagine? He's lying on his deathbed and he's remembering us in South Africa, our temple in South Africa. And that is how great Srila Prabhupada is. And he brought Vrindavan. Vrindavan is full of sadness. Huh? Nobody said anything. Vrindavan is full of happiness. There is not a bit of sadness in Vrindavan. It's full of happiness. So I'm just going to complete this. Haro abhaktasya kuto mahad guna. Without Krishna consciousness, happiness is impossible. Do you agree? Yes. You go and tell me where you can get happiness without Krishna consciousness. We have little ups and downs, but still, that is happiness. Because Krishna wants us to become pleased with Him. How we want to please Him? Trials and tribulations. That is happiness in Krishna consciousness. One may struggle, but one cannot have happiness. We are therefore trying to give human society the opportunity for a life of happiness, good health, peace of mind, and all good qualities through God consciousness, especially Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. That is our good fortune, that we have Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada came in our time, in this age, to save us by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya even declared that. He said, the Lord said that He will send His Senapati. What is Senapati? Huh? His general, to save us from this material world. So Srila Prabhupada is our general, and we are His
soldiers.
Nothing?
We are His soldiers.
Yes, we are His soldiers. We have to go on the battlefield and battle for Srila Prabhupada. And what is our weapon? Guns?
Yes. Nice.
Knives? Bush knife? What is our weapon? The chanting of the holy name and Srila Prabhupada's books. If you hand one book, the chanting of the holy name, people will hear, it will enter their heart and they will become purified. So my dear ones, while reading Prabhupada Harinamanada, go out and distribute books, go out on Harinam Sankirtan, and that is what Prabhupada did. He took this message of his Guru to heart, and he left India, and he traveled throughout the whole world, and he spread Krishna consciousness in every town and village, and he circled the globe 14 times in 12 years, which nobody could do. So therefore Prabhupada is the greatest person. So thank you very much for allowing me to come here to speak a little, so that I too, by speaking here, my heart and my mind can become purified. So give me all your blessing that we can continue together and become purified and go back home, back to Godhead, only and only through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Senapati Bhakta Srila Prabhupada ki, our eternal Savior Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki. Please give me your blessing ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Let's give Prabhu a big round of applause. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for such a powerful class. And I know you just had a few minutes, but that was absolutely amazing. So don't leave just yet, Prabhu. We have our 3 speakers, and we'd like to ask 3 questions. I know we have 2 sets of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, but on the altar we also have 2 Bhagavad Gitas. Shamaduti Prabhu, if you could please come forward as well. We'd like you to also give a gift to one of our devotees and whoever's here in the audience that can answer the 4th question. Shamaduti Prabhu is part of the New Jagannath Puri temple. He does a lot of service there, and he's very hardworking, very good devotee, and he does a lot of book distribution. So Prabhu, you as well, if you could ask a question. Madhuvanga Prabhu, can we start with you? To ask a question so we can give a gift to one of the devotees that are sitting here in our audience.
Yeah, off my mind very quickly what I
And,
remember.
okay, Prabhu is going to ask, go to Premi Mataji, you as well, ask a question. So I'm giving you all the hands up. Dwarkadesh Prabhu and Shamaduti Prabhu, you as well, you'll ask a question. So we've got 4 questions and 4 gifts.
Okay. One question, I just finished off. Srila Prabhupada circled the globe how many times and within how many years did he circle the globe? Yes, Prabhu.
14 times in 12 years, bro.
Give him a big hand, please. No, sorry, wrong side.
Okay, Dwarkadesh Prabhu, the next question, and Shamaduti Prabhu will get the next gift ready.
Okay, I'll try to make the question a simple one. There is one savory that Srila Prabhupada really loved, and he had a name also. Okay, Prabhu? Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Dwarkadesh Prabhu, for your question. Go to Premi Mataji, if you could please come forward as well with your question. But then they also will want to come forward to accept their gift.
Which city in India did Srila Prabhupada try to sell his books in before he traveled to the West?
Delhi. No, someone else.
Give somebody else.
I think you have to ask another question.
Yeah.
Someone from the back row too.
Okay, while you think of a question, let me ask a question. Right? What year did Srila Prabhupada first meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur? Yes, 1922.
Let him come in the front row. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu already got a Bhagavad Gita. Anyone else doesn't have a Bhagavad Gita, he's willing to give it, sponsor it to you all. Or if you know someone, you want to give it to someone else. Remember, Madhumangal Prabhu's talked about book distribution. This is book distribution as well. So who would like a Bhagavad Gita? If not for yourself, but you can give it to someone else.
Why is everyone so shy?
It's I want to send it to my friend in Dundee.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
How many temples did Srila Prabhupada open?
Someone has
Who would like to give someone else can give it.
You look Prabhu.
So thank you once again to the NJP Harinamanada team for being here with us and celebrating Srila Prabhupada's grand celebration of 50 years in coming to South Africa. So we have a birthday, we always have a birthday at our Namahata. And Bhavna and Kival are not with us. Is Bhavna and Kival here? I'm trying to look into the audience and I can't see them. Satisha and Mataji, are they here? Not here. Okay. So their birthdays were a few days ago, and today is Rasaraj Prabhu's birthday. So let's give him a round of applause. It is Ekadasi today, and we are fasting from grains. But Madhurya Mataji very lovingly has arranged cupcakes from Shri Shri Radha Radhanath that are Ekadasi cupcakes. So it's looking so beautiful, and Rasaraj Prabhu is going to come forward. Prabhu, your birthday is today, right?
Yes.
Today. Okay, so on behalf of all of us at the Lamarsi Namahasha, we wish you a very, very happy birthday. Thank you for being such a wonderful devotee. And Prabhu's always here with us, always engaging in Kirtan, always getting involved in all our programs. So a very, very happy birthday from all of us. Raghunath, if you can come forward and stand with Dad. Yes.
More important than me is my parents.
So I'm going to give Prabhu the mic. You can speak.
Lalita Devi Dasi. We'd like to call Lalita Devi Dasi to come forward, please. So, I was listening to a lecture and Guru Maharaj explained the unique qualities of Srimati Lalita Devi Dasi. And her name is Anuradha, actually. So my mother's name is also Anuradha. Her formal name is Harinamanada, her initial name is Lalita Devi. So what is it?
Yeah.
So I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of all the Vaishnavas. Pay my humble obeisances to my mom. So my late dad, coincidentally, his name was Ishwar Lal, but his nickname was Lala. So wherever you went, he was Lala Lala. So thank you for bringing me into this world 55 years ago. And I think I've mentioned the story before, that I was born premature, and within a few hours my mom didn't know. They had announced that the child had died, and the family on both sides, so on the Ramdas side and the Ramdeen side of the family, I'm the eldest grandson from both of them. So you may not know it, coincidentally, Smita Krishna Prabhu is actually my mama. And yeah, the family was busy preparing for the funeral because the first grandchild on both sides of the family. And my mom then, well, she found out, and then a couple hours later, the police comes to the door, knock, knock, Hare Krishna. Well, not Hare Krishna, probably. Yeah. Long, the child is actually alive, so thank you for that. Haribol, Jai.
Okay, Hare Krishna everybody. As you can see, this is my father. You can tell by we're both very short people. So I want to say that I want to thank him for raising me to be the son and man that I am. So we always have very rough pastimes. I'll explain that. Okay, we were in the kitchen and then we started arguing and I started throwing everything around. And then the next day I got up and I was making toast. So then I asked Dad, where's the butter? And then he's like, no, why don't you look on the wall? Then I looked and then I see the butter stuck on the wall there, and I was just like, okay, took the knife, took the butter, put it on the toast. So I want to say, even though we go through a lot of intense moments, that's the best time, because my father's still young, so he can't handle me when he's old, so we should actually be grateful that you have a very manly son. And to me, you are the best dad in the world. Okay, Haribo.
Say I love you.
Okay, so Didi is somewhere. I think he's sitting in the car when she came up. So my sincere apologies, devotees. We had all intentions of Prabhupada coming with the chariot, and we were going to do a palanquin. Sadly, the traffic took us in another direction. But we tried, and maybe next time on another day, better weather, we'll fix up the chariot and we'll do that. So, Vancha Kalpatarivascha, Kripa Singhapicha, Paditanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnava. And then my initiating spiritual master, all glories to him, and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can we please get our lovely Kirtan team to sing as Prabhu is going to cut the cupcake? Okay, maybe Mataji can feed you, so we can have a little bit of kirtan while that's happening.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. For he's a jolly good devotee, for he's a jolly good devotee, for he's a jolly good devotee. And so say all of us, Haribo! Haribo! Hare Krishna.
So thank you once again, Rasaraj Prabhu, for being such a wonderful devotee to us here at the Lamasina Mahasha. So I have just one announcement, which is so rare, right? Normally I'm standing here and bombarding you with announcements. Just one announcement, and it's a very exciting one. We're all looking forward to a date that's coming up shortly. What date am I talking about? What festival am I talking about? The tent campaign. So our tent campaign is set for the 18th and 19th of July. We look forward to each and every one of y'all being there with us. This is going to be at the Peace Park in Tamgat, and our plans are full steam ahead. We have a play, we have a skit, we have dances, we have so much of exciting things going on, and we need each and every one of you to be there with us, giving us your love and support the way y'all always have done. So please save the date. Make sure you'll are there. Make sure you'll come, attend, pass the invite to everyone, and we are looking forward to having a wonderful celebration. And remember, our tent campaign is also a celebration, a pre-celebration for our Janmashtami 2025. So we look forward to each and every one of you being there with us. So we now reach the end of our program. Madhumanga Prabhu, you will be doing Aarti. You'll be performing Aarti. Okay, Madhumanga Prabhu is going to perform Aarti. Shamajishi Prabhu is going to lead us into Kirtan. Thank you to Rasaraj Prabhu for the Guru Puja that you rendered earlier on. Thank you so much for performing Guru Puja. And we also had Dwarkadesh Prabhu that led the Kirtan at the beginning. So thank you, and thank you to this wonderful team that came to our Namaharsha this evening. Let's give them one final round of applause. Thank you to our speakers as well. Please may we all rise for Aarti, and do not leave without partaking in the delicious, sumptuous prasad that's awaiting for you all. It is Ekadasi today, so you're going to indulge in a lovely Ekadasi feast.
Okay.
So thank you once again for coming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One quick announcement. There's something here that somebody's lost, and I think during the Guru Puja it fell off, maybe your key or your house keys or your car keys. It was lying there in the front, and there's also a touch stick. Somebody's makeup item is also lying on the floor. So these two items, if anyone's lost it, you can come and get it from the later.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hariram Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada 50 years anniversary awareness ki. Srila Prabhupada 50 years in South Africa. Awareness ki. Srila Prabhupada 50 years awareness
in South Africa.
In South Africa ki. Jai Guru Premanande. Thank you, Harinamanada. Please continue your good work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wishing
Namaste, Narasimhaya. Namaste,
Vapachari Govinde, Namo Brahmane Sarvita Vatara Janva, Vishwasvara Vajayati, Sarima Vijaja, Jodi Deva Vikram.